Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of MCU Rewatch. This is episode 4 of the series, and in this episode, we're going to be rewatching The Avengers. If you guys don't know how this series works, basically I just watch the movie and vlog as I'm watching the movie, giving you guys my thoughts on certain sections and certain parts that I might not have remembered since the first watch. The reason I'm rewatching all of the MCU movies is because I really just want to experience all of these movies again, and there's a lot of these movies that I haven't really seen since they initially came out, and so rewatching them is a good way to get my updated thoughts on them. And at the end of each video, I basically give you guys a mini review. But without wasting any more time, let's go right into it, rewatching The Avengers.
Sir, we don't know.
Honestly, this movie started off way more fast-paced than I remember. It's like starting so fast. They give a little backstory on Loki and the Chitauri, or kind of explaining why he's actually coming to Earth, which is pretty cool. I don't really remember any parts in the beginning other than Loki versus Hawkeye, basically. I'm gonna be honest, guys, that theme song never ever gets old.
Once you find it, it's been taken.
Sheesh.
Which is why you should be focusing on Phase 2. It was designed for exactly
Phase 2 isn't ready. Our enemy is.
It's still kind of crazy to me how big of a threat Loki used to be, and how he's still technically a threat at all times because he can just change up so fast. The magnitude at which he was a threat in the beginning, like in this Avengers movie, is so much bigger than I remember. They assembled the Avengers to defeat Loki out of all people, but it also makes sense because over time their villains got more and more powerful as the team started to grow apart even more. Everyone came together and then fought the final war together, so it makes sense, but it's still crazy to think that Loki was the first villain.
There's not enough time. We gotta put her in the water.
You won't be alone.
Oh my God. This guy's still alive.
If you guys haven't already checked out my MCU rewatch for Captain America and the First Avenger, make sure to do so. The link is in the description down below. That's probably my favorite MCU rewatch yet because that's the movie I remember the least from in Phase 1, I think.
You have reached the life model decoy that Tony Stark received a message. This is urgent. Then leave it urgently. Security breach.
Also, if you want to see my Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2 rewatch, you can click the link in the description down below.
Is this not your natural state? It's the unspoken truth of humanity that you crave subjugation. The bright lure of freedom diminishes your life's joy in a mad scramble for power.
Not to men like you.
There are no men like me.
There are always men like you.
Look to your elder people. Let him be an example.
You know, the last time I was in Germany, I saw a man standing above everybody else. We ended up disagreeing. The soldier.
A man out of time.
I'm not the one who's out of time.
Loki, drop the weapon and stand down.
I'm gonna be honest, the main reason why I literally just played basically that entire scene out for you guys is because it's one of my favorite scenes in the MCU of all time. It shows someone revolting against the villain and then the hero coming in to save them. I know that's super cliche, but that's so awesome to me. I don't know why. And I remember watching this scene for the first time in theaters and my mind was blown. Also, the combat between Loki and Captain America is so much fun to watch, especially after Captain America gets his shield knocked away and he just uses regular hand-to-hand combat. I don't know why, but I just love this scene so much.
Captain, what's your thing, Pilates? What? It's like calisthenics. You might have missed a couple things, you know. Doing time is capsicle.
Dude, the banter between these two is so good.
Shakespeare in the Park. Doth mother know you weareth her drapes?
I love the banter between Iron Man and Captain America, and it's even better between Iron Man and Thor, and it's even better between Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America.
Prove it. Put that camera down. Yeah, no. Bad call. He loves his
Tell me none of this smells a little funky, do you?
Just find the cue.
The communication between Bruce and Tony is really, really well done because Bruce has a hard time accepting himself while Tony has already accepted the robot to be a part of him. And so I think the parallels between the two make their banter really, really good. It's not even just like friendly banter. I feel like it actually affects Bruce, and it's teaching Bruce to actually accept himself in the long run.
You know damn well why. Back off.
Oh, I'm starting to want you to make me.
Big man in a suit of armor. Take that off. What are you?
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
I know guys with none of that worth 10 of you. I've seen the footage. The only thing you really fight for is yourself. You're not the guy to make the sacrifice play. To lay down on a wire and let the other guy crawl over you.
I think I would just cut the wire.
You know, you may not be a threat, but you better stop pretending to be a hero.
A hero? Like you? You're a laboratory experiment, Rogers. Everything special about you came out of a bottle.
Not only the scene before that dialogue between Steve and Tony, but the entire like segment while they're in that laboratory experiment room is so good. Probably one of my favorite MCU moments / scenes of all time. Not only does it show how far the Avengers have come from Avengers 1 to Avengers Endgame, but it also shows how far Tony and Steve have just come in their singular arcs. They really signify each of those individual moments of growth for each character. As much as I don't like what the MCU did with Hulk in Infinity War and Endgame, I think he is so awesome in Avengers. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Maybe it's just the fact that like the editing was bad, like there was no music or like cool sound effects during that hand-to-hand fight, but it was just lame compared to the Captain America and Iron Man segment of basically saving the SHIELD ship. It's kind of crazy to think that like they started setting up like the final battle stuff literally 47 minutes before the movie's even over. Like they show New York, they figure out that Loki wants to take over or start taking over in New York. It feels like it happened so early in the movie for some reason. Alright, I know I haven't recorded much, but honestly, I've literally just been so in the moment. I like am so entertained. I might be just as entertained as I was the first time I saw this movie. I know I'm just rewatching these movies, but honestly, it kind of feels like I'm watching them for the first time again because I barely remember anything. I just really know the end goal of everything, so at the end I know basically Tony Stark sacrifices himself at the not only end of this movie, but obviously at the end of Endgame. I know how his character grows over time, and that just makes me enjoy the movie a lot more, but I'm still just as entertained as I was the first time I ever watched this movie because it's just such a fun time.
You take them to the basement or to the subway. You keep them off the streets. I need a perimeter as far back as 39th. Why the hell should I take orders from you?
I need men in those buildings. Lead the people down and away from the streets. You got it. We're gonna set up a perimeter all the way down to 39th Street.
The comedy in this movie is so like stupid. Like it's such low level comedy, but it's still so funny to me. I'm literally laughing at this movie just as much as I was when I was like 12 years old. It's just so much fun.
That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry.
that morph sequence where the Hulk turns from Bruce Banner to Hulk is so clean. Okay, now I see why this battle is so long. It honestly doesn't even feel like it's that long in the moment because of the different aspects in the battle itself. Like, they literally haven't even teamed up yet, and we're already like 15 minutes into the Battle of New York, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, this battle is fun. It's pretty long, but it doesn't even feel like it's that long because of how much fun it is.
Enough! You are all of you beneath me. I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
Dude, I remember when I was a little kid, I laughed so hard at that scene, like uncontrollably laughing in the movie theater. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I knew about the nuke storyline, but I honestly kind of forgot that it was this big of a deal, and it was like the threat they faced right after Loki, and it's technically from S.H.I.E.L.D. Kind of fire, not gonna lie.
So, it's
He's not slowing down.
I love this movie so much, man, for multiple different reasons. I don't know, man. I'm gonna talk about it after I finish watching, give you guys my little review, but I'm in love. I really don't know how else to put it. I just love this movie so much. I love literally every aspect about it, but I don't want to talk too much about it right now because then I'm gonna spoil what I'm gonna talk about in my review.
How's that drink now?
Alright guys, so I just finished rewatching The Avengers, and I have to say that it's nothing crazier than I remember it being. I remember it being a fun time. It was super fun to see all these characters come together for the first time ever on the big screen. We saw all these characters independently in somewhat of their own movies before the Avengers team up, and this movie was just a perfect culmination of all these characters. I'm gonna be honest, the first half of this movie and the second half of this movie feel like two completely different things, and I really like that about this movie. The change in tone switches up so fast, and I think it mainly starts right after the argument between Cap and Tony inside of Bruce Banner's laboratory. I also really like that there's quick and short subplots that are really underneath the character development and not under the main story in general. For example, Bruce Banner's subplot is that he needs to learn how to keep himself under control so that he doesn't hurt everyone on the ship or on the S.H.I.E.L.D. ship. And so what makes that subplot so good is because if Hulk comes out or if Bruce Banner does something wrong, then obviously Natasha Romanoff got scared. We literally saw that when Loki's army, again, not the Chitauri, but the normal human beings came on the ship. When Natasha saw him turn into Hulk, she was fearful for her entire life. But on top of that, when you see Hulk or Bruce Banner trying to keep it in, that's when you actually see the real side of him. And that's the side we get to see in these arguments between Tony and Cap. Bruce is trying to stay under control. He's trying to stay composed, but if he doesn't, then it affects everything else. And he's just another factor in the equation of madness that is the Avengers in the beginning of this movie. And so Bruce's subplot really affects the main plot of the movie, which is the team getting together and honestly just getting along in general. I've also heard a lot of people say that the Avengers isn't a good family. They're nothing like the Fantastic Four or the X-Men. And I think the main point of the Avengers is looking at them in the long run. At the end of the day, the argument that Cap and Tony had in this one movie alone, where Captain America said, "You're not the one to make the sacrifice play," Tony made the sacrifice play, not only at the end of the day in this movie where he was still cocky, but at the end of the Infinity Saga where he snapped his fingers and sacrificed himself for the entire universe. He was the one to make the sacrifice play, and I think that that's what the Avengers family is in the long run, because we've seen them have their ups and downs, mostly downs because Captain America and Iron Man are always arguing, but I think that that's something that's special about this team, and I think that's why this movie is so near and dear to my heart. Maybe it's because I watched watched this at a super young age, and it was my first superhero movie in theaters ever. I watched this movie when I think I was about 12 or 13 years old, and it honestly changed my life forever. Literally, right after I watched this movie, I went to Walmart, bought some Avengers Nerf toys, and battled it out on the sofas. I had so much fun because this movie influenced me so much. It was the perfect mix of comedy and action, and it was just so much fun all around, and I still thought the same exact thing today when I rewatched it. I can't wait to continue this rewatch because just rewatching this movie alone, not even Iron Man 1, 2, and Captain America the First Avenger, this movie alone reminded me so much of when I was watching these movies as a kid in the movie theater, like as literally a 12 or 13 year old. And I love that I get to experience that again. Also, like the comedy, like I said before in this video, the comedy is so dumb in this movie, but I still managed to laugh because it's always a fun time. And that's honestly why I didn't record that much while I was watching this movie. And again, I had such a fun time with this movie. If you guys enjoy this MCU rewatch series, make sure to let me know by dropping a like rating down below. If you guys want to see more of these episodes and you don't want to miss any of them, hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.